Have you ever just paused right in the middle of your morning commute, looked around, and genuinely asked yourself, what is all this actually about? I mean, it's pretty much the ultimate human question, isn't it? We're all out here searching for some kind of deeper meaning, looking for a life that actually feels abundant. Well, today in this explainer, we're gonna unpack a highly structured, almost architectural approach to that exact question. Let's jump right into the source material and explore what it calls the biblical blueprint for an abundant life. The text actually kicks things off by completely challenging our default everyday settings with a really piercing question. It's posed by Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew, and he asks, what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? It's a pretty intense, direct confrontation of this idea we often have that earthly gain can somehow make up for eternal loss. And the source emphasizes here that this forfeiture they're talking about, it isn't just about losing earthly comforts, it's about facing an eternity separated from God, which, according to the text, is a scenario that makes all the earthly fame, fortune, and power you could ever gather just utterly worthless. So this perfectly illustrates the core conflict the text focuses on. On one side, you have your standard earthly pursuits, right? Having fun, chasing success, climbing the ladder, building influence. The source exposes these as tragically short-sighted if they become our ultimate absolute endgame. Then, in stark contrast to that, the biblical perspective frames the whole purpose of life entirely differently. It asserts that life is actually about knowing, glorifying, and enjoying God forever. It's this massive shift from chasing temporary thrills to looking toward a literal eternal horizon. To understand how to actually live out this perspective, the text provides a literal schematic for us. First, we'll look at the original floor plan. Then, we're going to build 3 structural pillars: choices, relationships, and preparation. And finally, we'll uncover the ultimate foundation this entire blueprint rests upon. So let's start from the ground up with part 1, life's original blueprint, or the Genesis floor plan. The source makes this really interesting argument that to figure out what life is supposed to be, we actually have to look backward at humanity's pre-sin design. The text maps out 4 original purposes. First up is social connection. Humans were made to be deeply social creatures, but sin strained those bonds. Second is work. Now, this was originally designed as joyful creativity, which sin then turned into, toilsome, exhausting labor. Third is fellowship. This was supposed to be an intimate, daily communion with the Creator, but it got replaced by fear. And finally, dominion. Humanity's wise, loving rule over the earth was basically twisted into exploitation. The text notes that finding true meaning really comes down to restoring these 4 specific areas. Moving right along to Pillar 1, making wise choices. The text highlights that from the very beginning, humanity was given this profound responsibility to choose. It points directly to the book of Deuteronomy, where God literally commands his people to choose life. Now, this introduces a seriously fascinating theological paradox. The source emphasizes that we kind of have to hold 2 truths in our hands at the exact same time: God's sovereign action, where God initiates love and actually gifts faith, alongside genuine human responsibility, where people are commanded to repent and trust. It's the idea that our daily choices are completely 100% real, yet simultaneously made possible by prior grace. To really anchor the gravity of these daily choices, the source brings in a brilliant insight from the writer C.S. Lewis. He pointed out that every single decision we make, even the ones that seem super tiny, moves a person either toward becoming a creature fit for heaven or one distorted toward hell. These aren't just isolated, meaningless actions. They are literally the chisels shaping our eternal character. All right, that brings us to Pillar 2, forming strong relationships. According to the text, life is fundamentally relational. I mean, total isolation was considered not good, even in a completely perfect world. The text cites scholar N.T. Wright, who emphasizes that this relational dynamic is the absolute beating heart of Christian existence. It's all about being renewed in relationship with God as his image bearers. So it's not merely about, private rule-keeping in a bubble. It's about reflecting God's character out into the world, together as a community. And you actually see this relational priority echoed everywhere throughout the biblical text. Take figures like Asaph in the Psalms, for example. He writes, "Whom have I in heaven but you? And there is nothing on earth that I desire besides you." The source points out that for biblical writers, knowing God vastly, vastly surpasses any earthly resume or grand accomplishment you could ever achieve. Let's keep building. Pillar 3, proper preparation for eternity. So if humans are created for eternal fellowship, the source asserts that this present life is really just a prelude. It's a training ground. So how do you actually prepare?
Well, the text outlines heavenly investments. And no, obviously you won't find these on Wall Street. It means storing up treasures in heaven rather than just hoarding temporary earthly wealth. It's embracing the understanding that future responsibilities in God's kingdom are based on your faithfulness right now. And importantly, it's realizing that present sufferings are actually quite light when you compare them to the eternal glory that is being prepared.
The source actually brings in C.S. Lewis again here to capture this outlook, and he does it beautifully. He said, "Aim at heaven and you will get earth thrown in, aim at earth and you will get neither." The text is basically arguing that framing your destiny with eternity in view actually frees you up. It frees you to live sacrificially and joyfully today without getting crushed by temporary failures or totally consumed by temporary successes. Finally, we arrive at the ultimate foundation, sola scriptura.
So, we've seen the floor plan, we've built the pillars, but any architect will tell you that a blueprint is completely useless without a solid bedrock, right? Building without one is basically a recipe for a DIY viral fail video. The text argues that the historic doctrine of sola scriptura is that ultimate foundation. It positions the Bible not merely as some dusty religious reference book, but as God-breathed and absolutely authoritative. The source maintains that it stands supreme over human customs. It's the essential, unalterable guide because, according to the text, it alone accurately reveals who God is and how our lives can actually matter forever.
To bring all of this architectural theory together into something actionable, the text distills this framework down into 4 practical steps. Number 1, put first things first, which means to glorify God. Number 2, make wise choices by trusting Christ daily. Number 3, form strong relationships, cultivating that deep fellowship. And number 4, prepare for the spiritually inevitable, living today fully in the light of the new creation.
We've explored a massive theological framework today, moving all the way from humanity's original design right through to eternal preparations. But the source leaves us with a really necessary point of personal reflection. If this blueprint indeed represents the true architecture of human existence, we have to ask ourselves, what foundation are you building your life upon today? Are you aiming at heaven or are you aiming at earth? It's a question worth deeply, deeply considering. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.